Hi everyone, welcome to GT Coding. I had shown you how to design this custom select box in one of my previous videos, and I got some comments on that asking me how to have multiple custom select boxes on the same page. So right now with the current code that we have, we cannot have multiple select boxes. Even if we copy this multiple times, only one of the select boxes will work. So in this video, I'll show you how to have multiple custom select boxes like we have over here on the same page. So let's get started. The first thing you can do is go ahead to my GitHub page and you can download the source code. So just go over here to this link. I'll leave the link in the description below, and just go over here and click on clone or download and then download the zip file. Alright, I have downloaded the source code and I copied this in this folder right here called custom select box. So let me open this with VS Code. So our project is opened in VS Code. Now let's go to our HTML and let's open this with live server. So here is our custom select box. Now let me show you what happens when we have multiple select boxes. So let's just fold this code over here and let me just copy this 2 more times. So now we have 3 select boxes. Now if you click on the first one, we can see that it works alright, and if you click on the second one, we can see that it doesn't work. So the second and the third select boxes don't work. So we need to make some changes in our JavaScript code to make it work. So let's go over here to our main.js file. Now the first thing we need to do in our JavaScript is reference multiple instances of the selected division. So if you go to the HTML, we can see that this is our first select box, and if you scroll down, we can see we have this division called selected. So this is the selected division for the first select box, and if you scroll down, we can see that this is the second select box, and in that we have another selected division, and so we have the selected division in the third one as well. So we have 3 divisions called selected in our HTML. So we have to reference all those over here in our JavaScript. So we'll go ahead and change the name to selected all, and instead of query selector, we will type query selector all. And now all the selected divisions will be stored inside the selected all constant. Now what we need to do is apply the following code that we have over here to all the selected divisions. So for that we can use a for each loop. So we'll just type selected all dot for each, and we need to have a callback function over here, and we also need to have an argument. So we'll name the argument selected and we'll create an arrow function. Now what this for each loop does is that it goes through all the selected boxes in our HTML, and we can access each of them by using the name that we specified over here. So now what we need to do is copy all this code and paste it over here inside the for each loop. Alright, now the next thing we need to do is change the options container. So right now the options container is looking for the options container division. Now here we can see that we are searching in the document. So when we execute this line of code, document.querySelector options container, we get the first options container in our document. Now we don't want that. We want to have the options container related to the current selected division. So in this for each loop, we are going through all the selected divisions, and when we are in the first selected division, we want to get the options container of the first selected division. And when we are in the second selected division, we want to get the options container of the second selected division, and so on in the third one as well. So what we can do is, instead of typing document.querySelector, we have to write some code that selects the options container related to the current selected division. So if we go to our HTML, we can see that we have this options container over here, and we have the selected division right here. So the options container is before the selected division. So in JavaScript, we have the option of selecting the previous element. So we can use that over here. So we'll just type const options container equals selected, which is the current selected division, dot previous element sibling. Now this will select the correct options container. So for the first selected division, we have the first options container. For the second one, we have the second options container, and so on for the third one. And if you go to the HTML, we can see that the search box is after our selected division, So we can also select the next element sibling. So we have the search box over here. So we'll type const search box equals selected dot next element sibling. So now we have the correct options container and the search box. Now the next thing we have over here is the options list. So right now we have the code document.querySelector all option. Now what this will do is it will select all the options from the first, second and the third select boxes. Let me open the console and show you that. So here we'll type document.querySelector all and we'll type option, and we can see all the options are being selected from the first, second and the third select boxes. So we don't want that. We want to select options from only the current options container. So instead of document, we will type options container and it will select the options only from the current options container. Now with these changes, our custom select box should work. So let's click on the first one and let's select something from here. And now let's select the second one, and we can see that the second one also works. The third one also works. Now we have some more things to fix over here. So the first thing is when we select one of the select boxes, and if you select another select box, we can see that the first one stays selected and we can select all the select boxes at once. So we don't want that. We want to have only one of these selected at a time. So if you select the first one and then if you select the second one, the first one should not be active anymore. So let's go over here and make some changes to this code. So here we can see that we are adding an event listener to the selected. So in that we are adding the active class to our options container. Let's remove this line of code from here, and here first of all we'll check whether the options container has the class of active. So we have to type options container dot class list dot contains, and we have to add the name of the class over here. So if the options container has the class of active, then we have to remove that. So we'll type options container dot class list dot remove active. Now the next thing we need to do is, if it doesn't have the class of active, then we have to check whether any other options container has a class of active. So we'll just create a variable called current active, and we'll type document dot query selector, and we'll type options container dot active. So make sure that you don't have any space in between the options container and the active, because we are searching for elements that have both these classes applied to it. Now if you find any such element, so we'll type if current active, then we have to remove the active class from that. So we'll type current active dot class list dot remove active. Now we need to add the active class to the options container. So we'll type options container dot class list dot add active. So now let's see whether it works. So let's click on the first one, and the first one is active. Now let's click on the second one, and we can see that the first one is inactive right now, and we can just select one of these at a time. Now this can be enough for you, but let me also show you how to not make the other elements slide down when one of these is active. So we can see that when we click on the first one, we can see all the other elements move down. So if you don't want this effect, you can make some changes to your CSS. So let's go to our CSS, and we have to go to the options container, and here we will add 2 lines of code. We will type position, and we'll set the position to absolute, and we'll also set the Z index to 100. Now when we click on any of the select boxes, we can see that the other elements don't move down. Now we have one more problem to fix over here. Since we added this code of position absolute, we have some problems over here. We can see that the first element is not being shown. So if we just type art, we can see that the first one is not being shown over here. So we have to make some changes to the active class over here as well. So here for the margin top, we have 54 pixels. So let me just change it to 104 pixels. Now we can see that our first element is showing, and everything is working all right. So that's basically it for this video. I hope that this was useful. If you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below, and I will also leave the link of the source code in the description below. So if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.